What do we have for Gemini? Eight of Swords. Gemini, that is your energy at the foundation of the reading. Before I began the reading and when I was meditating on your energy, I was seeing the Eight of Swords in my mind, okay? And what I feel is taking place here inside the Gemini collective all has to do with these eclipses. I mentioned in the Sag reading that what a lot of you are graduating on from now dates all the way back to the eclipse that took place in August of 2017. And very similar energy here for you as well, Gemini. Something took place right around that time of your life. You may have been in a relationship, you may have been at some sort of job, or just essentially going down a path that you thought was all a part of your destiny, only to find yourself heartbroken and having to put your life back together in some capacity. Or you could have been in a very toxic relationship that you thought was some kind of soulmate connection. But now here you are, and it's as if, honestly, I feel like the past few weeks, you've been feeling a sense of relief. It's like you're moving on from these kind of obsessive thoughts or even obsessive fantasies that you don't want to be having about situations in your past that you felt let down about, right? But now it's as if this energy's been lifted up from you, Gemini, and I fully relate to this. You know, I found myself the past few weeks really consumed by thoughts surrounding events that took place in 2017, and I could not get these things out of my head. Couldn't figure out what was going on. And then as we started to approach the eclipse, I started to feel a sense of relief. And now it's as if it's all been removed from my psyche, from my energy. And the reason why there's this sort of ramping up that I feel a lot of you have been feeling in regards to these memories and these obsessive thoughts that you've been having is because you're getting ready to finally be liberated and graduate on from these karmic cycles of the past. I quite often speak about how we feel a dip in energy or an increase in some sort of negativity in our life right before we have a breakthrough, right? It's almost as if the universe is making sure that we've gathered the wisdom that we need to gather. We've learned the lesson we need to learn before we move on. It's an energy of, are you sure you understand, Gemini? Are you sure you've learned your lesson, Gemini? It's very Saturnian in nature when I think about it, because it feels like an elder that's trying to teach you a lesson here. And they need you to feel the pain of the past to graduate on to the blessings of your future. There's a huge release that's taking place, Gemini. I feel that you're going to start feeling this new kind of hope flooding through. There's an energy of clear thinking. It's as if your thought process is being calibrated by the universe. And, you know, Eight of Swords is shadow Gemini energy. It's an energy of self-restriction. It's like you're stuck inside your head. You can't get out of your mind. It's starting to have an influence on your external environment. And this, Gemini, is what you are being freed of right now. And I also feel that after we have this second eclipse, you're going to feel an even bigger sense of relief. So what I would suggest you do right now as we approach the second eclipse, which I think is on April 8th, is prepare yourself. Say a prayer, Gemini. Write down some intentions you have for your future. Write down some things that you want released from your energy. And if you pray on this, Gemini, if you sit down in silence with yourself, your spirit guides, the universe, God, the divine, whatever it is you use to connect to Source, I promise you that you will feel a huge sense of relief moving forward after the second eclipse. It will be like you're on a completely different timeline, because you will be. What do we have at the sacral, please? Seven of Cups, Scorpio energy at the sacral. Now, this is giving us a little bit of insight into what I'm picking up here surrounding these past energies, I feel that you're going to be finding yourself in a space if you aren't already, but it's an energy of looking back over the past and wondering what in the world you were thinking, right? You're starting to look at your past from outside of the fishbowl. There's this energy of you starting to think that maybe you were consumed by self-delusion. There's a kind of escapism here too. It's like indulging in all things that aren't supportive of your highest good and your intended path. And it's in these moments, Gemini, when you look back over your past and you have this perspective shift, that you really start to have a deeper understanding of how reality works. And this is when a lot of people really wake up to the fact that we are inside a kind of matrix, right? And, the matrix, the simulation, whatever words you want to use to describe it, it's just anything that you have in your life that's holding you back from your highest potential. Okay, it's anything that holds some sort of shadow energy from you becoming the best you can possibly be and aligning with the highest vibrational version of yourself. Now, it's very easy for us to succumb to these illusions that are very prevalent in all of our waking lives. It's something that is constantly bombarding us. There's distraction everywhere, which is the illusion, right? It's basically just trying to keep you from the path that you're supposed to be on, which all has to do with your mission, why you came here, your destiny. Think about it in terms of you preparing to come down to Earth and be incarnated into this life cycle. But before you come down here, you're having to sit down with God at divine headquarters and you're going over your mission statement, what the divine needs you to do when you come down here, which all has to do with your purpose, your path in life. There's a certain job that you need to do while you're here, right? But then when you get down here, because you don't remember any of that, because as soon as we hit this material density, right, the three-dimensional density, we're wiped clean of our mission statement. So you spend most of your life trying to remember something that you don't even know that you need to remember. There's signs and synchronicities popping up all around you. The divine's trying to get your attention. And then by way of some sort of miracle, which is you picking up on one of these signs and synchronicities that leads you down a kind of rabbit hole, you start digging into spirituality, you start digging into what your purpose might be in life. Do you actually start to wake up that, oh my God, I'm here for a reason, right? This is where you're at now, Gemini. And what's so interesting about this is when you start to wake up to this, you start to see that your reality has been constructed in a way to keep you from this, the way you're feeling now. Your reality has told you that you're insignificant, that there's nothing that you're here to do. You're not really seen by the universe. There's nothing special about you. But that's just it, Gemini. There is something actually extraordinary about you, and there's something incredibly special and something that you are meant to do in this lifetime. Whether it be big or small, whether it affects one person or many people, it doesn't matter. It's all a part of the mechanics of evolution, and you are certainly a part of this. But now you are starting to see Eight of Swords, Seven of Cups, that there's been this energy that has been keeping you restricted, and it's all around you. It is you waking up to the matrix that all of us are being bombarded with on a daily basis. And though we can't break the system, so to speak, we can wake up to it and navigate ourselves accordingly from within it. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Four of Swords, Libra energy at the solar plexus. This Four of Swords is interesting from this deck because, as we can see, here you are. You have prayer hands. I get this impression that you are connecting with the divine. You're resting. You're receiving these downloads in this Four of Swords energy. But there's this angry elderly man over here. I feel that that could be representative of a person or people that you have around you that are starting to witness you wake up to your purpose, to your path, to the illusion inside of this waking life. You know, Gemini, my belief is that we're incarnated down here because, like I said, we have a job we need to do, something specific, right? I believe that each one of us needs to be in a certain place at a certain time so the universe can use us to create some sort of domino effect. This can happen multiple times throughout our lives, or maybe there's one big thing. Who knows? But whatever the case, Gemini, when we are incarnated down here, I feel that a lot of us are born into families that are here to do the complete opposite from us, right? They hold a kind of shadow energy that has been assigned to us to keep us asleep. So when we start to wake up to enough of the truth to make our way forward and start seeking out some kind of answers, like I'm getting from your energy here, this energy has a very negative reaction to this. And in some cases, probably in most cases, I don't even think that these people really know what they're doing. Now, there are some individuals that are born into families that come up against individuals that know exactly what they're doing. They know that you've been chosen to do something, and they know that the devil chose them to stop you. But whatever the case here, Gemini, there's an energy that does not want you breaking free from them. It's an energy that wants you to feel completely powerless and inferior to them. And I feel that what you're starting to realize now is that most of your life, you've almost been serving other individuals, and it's been keeping you stuck. You have felt a sense of responsibility, like it's your lot in life to serve others to this capacity, almost like a Cinderella energy. And this is what you're waking up to now, that no, that's not what you came here to do at all. There's actually something much greater that the divine is positioning you for. That most of your life has been stuck inside this sort of illusion surrounding the person that you were to become, right? It's like you've been held back by individuals that wanted to tell you who you are and what you should be doing in this lifetime. And the other side of this as well, Gemini, is that these individuals, I feel, have made you feel like you are some sort of burden. Right? See, this is a big narcissistic tactic. They're actually feeding off of you, holding you back in all areas of your life, but then they will gaslight you and make you feel like there's something wrong with you and that you're actually the burden. You're the one holding them back. So when you start to seek understanding and truth in your life and you connect in this capacity, right? It's like here you are, Four of Swords, you're praying. You're in this energy of contemplation. You're connecting with the divine. It's like you have your eyes closed. You're crossing over into the spirit realm, connecting with your guides, right? It's during this process, do you actually start to see bits and pieces of the truth? See, the only thing that has stopped you from being able to see the truth is that the truth has all been on the spiritual plane. And this is why these individuals, or however it may resonate for you, don't want you awakening to the truth, because then you start to see them for who they really are. I can fully relate to this, Gemini. When I went through my last spiritual awakening back in 2018, it's like I just came online, right? I just started awakening to many truths in my life, and I started to see people that were in my life up until that point in a way that I never had. I just started to lose respect for individuals because I started to see how truly narcissistic some of these people were and how all of their lives were surrounded by different layered forms of gaslighting and deeply embedded lies. It's during these periods of awakening, Gemini, that you start to feel like everybody was in on it, right? That's a big one. During awakening, you feel like you're in the middle of some show and everybody knows except you, right? That's what it feels like to awaken. And then the other part of awakening that I mention sometimes is you feeling like you need to catch up to something, right? And the reason for that is because you have this newfound connection with your higher self that is essentially steering the ship that is you. So you feel like you need to catch up to something. But in saying that, Gemini, you are exactly where you need to be in this moment. But there's no more hesitating, Gemini. Now is the perfect opportunity to start pushing forward, because these eclipses, this Mercury retrograde as well, that is quickly approaching, is going to allow for this portal to open for you. I feel that the Mercury retrograde is going to allow you to see the truths, right? You're having a look back over some of these patterns. You're starting to put pieces together. And then the eclipse allows you to eclipse these energies from your life and actually make your way through this new portal. What do we have at the heart, please? Beautiful. The star, Aquarius energy at the heart. And all of this is leading you to this newfound sense of confidence and hope that you're now discovering within yourself, Gemini, based off of this awakening. I feel this is representing a kind of balancing in your chakra systems, right? We have those 7 white stars there surrounding this one main star. And I feel like this is you coming into calibration with the universe, with the divine. There's this energy of relief here, Gemini. There's just a huge sense that you're having this blockage removed from your life. It's like it happens overnight. You know, there's areas of your life, Gemini, that you thought about giving up on because you didn't think it was for you, or you didn't think you were any good, or whatever it might be. And as you're moving forward now, you're going to start to realize that, yes, it actually is for you. And yes, you are good enough for whatever this is here I'm picking up. There's just been this kind of self-delusion that you were holding on to from the past, which was creating an alternate timeline at present day. So when you're holding on to that self-delusion from the past, it's like you're manifesting yourself onto a timeline where no, that particular thing is not for you. So when you actually release the self-delusion from the past, the hurt and the pain, because you felt like you missed out on something, then you really start to wake up and you align with your highest potential. And this is when all of those blessings, all of those true heart's desires align with you. See how it works, Gemini? You can't have both, right? And this is why it's so important for us to be very mindful of the energies that we surround ourselves with. People, places, things, behavioral patterns. All of these things will work in tandem to keep us from our highest potential and our highest good. I get people coming to me all the time for personal readings that are trying to manifest particular things in their life, but they're entertaining people or behavioral patterns or certain things from the past that cannot go with them into this space where this new energy is. And it's really hard to see it, right? Because you can't see the forest for the trees when you're consumed by that energy. You just can't see things from this aerial perspective. But once you cross over to the other side, once you're in that new timeline, it's during that time do you start to look back and you're completely in awe at the fact that you allowed those things to hold you back because you see it so clearly now. You can see what you couldn't see before. What do we have at the throat, please? 7 of Pentacles at the throat. So again, Gemini, wherever you are feeling held back in your life, this is what you need to start focusing on now, okay? Because all of this energy was holding you back, you became disillusioned by your actual path, right? So the divine is asking you to start focusing on those true heart's desires again. Go back to it, because this time, if you're doing the proper releasing work, like we're suggesting here to you underneath these eclipses, and setting your intentions and sending up your prayers, you will start to finally see movement here. And the 7 of Pentacles at that throat position, this is really indicating you speaking your manifestations into the ethers, right? A way of programming your mind that, yes, I am good enough. Yes, I can pull this off. Yes, this is a part of my intended path. Yes, I'm going to calibrate with the timeline, where all of these things will start to make their way into my actual reality and waking life. I see a few sevens on this table, Gemini. 7 of Cups. We have those 7 stars there. 7 of Pentacles. 7 chakra system. Gemini, your magic and manifesting abilities are increasing right now. So you need to tap into your inner superpowers and release this magic to the world. It's go time, Gemini. Okay? And like I was saying, it feels like overnight, like yesterday, right? Let's just say, for example, you felt completely held back. You just felt like something wasn't for you. And then you actually sit down and you start putting together a prayer and setting your intentions and really mapping out what you want your future to look like. And then boom, the next day or a couple days later, you feel like you're on a completely different timeline and you're actually manifesting everything that you sent up in your prayer. This is the kind of energy we're in right now. It's no more waiting. It's now or never. It's like the universe is here for you, Gemini. But you actually have to always meet the universe, the divine God, halfway because of your free will. Okay, so it's very important you remember that. So as not to just sit around and wait for a miracle to show up on your front doorstep. It's not how this works. You go out and you start searching for the miracle, and you will align with it. And you know, miracles I like to think of as everyday occurrences once you're aligning with your true path. Because once you're on the path that the divine intended you to be on, your whole life feels like a miracle. It feels like pure magic, because it's in this space where you can actually manifest on a dime. You start to think about things you want to bring into your reality, and they just show up. Now, it's also important to remember that you really just want to focus your manifestation abilities on things that are actually useful to you on your path, right? Those are the things that are going to show up with ease, because the universe wants to make sure that you're taken care of and supported on your path. It's sort of like perceiving your blessings on your path as your kind of pay that the universe gives you to make sure you have everything you need to fulfill your destiny and complete your mission. What do we have at the third eye, please? The Lovers, Gemini energy at the third eye. And the Lovers from this deck is a little bit different, because what I'm seeing here is this individual lending a hand to this feminine energy here. But I feel that this is a union that you're having with your higher self. It's like your higher self has found you. It's like your higher self is reaching out to you and giving you a lending hand, saying, okay, let's go. Now's the time. It's just an energy of calibration. It's like you're balancing your feminine and masculine qualities together as a means to align with your destined path. It also indicates to me that through this prayer, Gemini, that I was picking up on for you, and also meditation is a big one, you're going to make yourself available to downloads, to higher guidance. See, this is how this works. It's like you have to show up for a sit down with your higher self, the divine. And when you do this, you're actually carving out time in your life to go over your mission statement. And it's during this process that things just become clearer to you. Things start to move with ease in your life. You just start to make a lot of progress in areas where you may have been feeling restricted or held back at one point in time. There is an energy here, it's quite strong, surrounding you not being able to communicate with the divine because of some sort of energy that surrounds you. And I'm being drawn to this Four of Swords. Sometimes this is family, it could be friends, it could be a toxic relationship you're in, but overall, it's just a bad influence you have around you that spends a lot of time distracting you, so you don't have any time left over for yourself to concentrate and put together a vision of what your future will look like. You're just completely consumed by the matrix. It's bombarding you. And when you start to fully awaken, Gemini, a lot of you are probably already seeing this now, but you really start to recognize just how much distraction is around us. It's really overwhelming. And the people that aren't awake to this are just completely consumed by it. So when you actually start to go through a spiritual awakening, you're coming online in the middle of the simulation, it's truly shocking just how much our environment is holding us back. It's basically a mind war. Everywhere we turn, it's like they're trying to seep into our mind and plant these seeds in our subconscious that have a way of holding us back in some capacity. And that's really shadow Gemini energy. That's what that Eight of Swords is, everything I just said. This is when you've allowed for all of this to imprison you in this space. To me, the Eight of Swords really represents somebody who's asleep inside the matrix. And then paired with the Seven of Cups, they don't even know it. Restriction and delusion. And Gemini, there's not a single person on this planet that hasn't gone through this at some point in time. I certainly have. I was in this energy for decades before I awakened to the truth here, found my way, started tilling the soil and aligning with my higher self. And now when I look back, it's absolutely mind-blowing to me, the meticulous detail that goes into all of this. And it's also during this period of time when you have this aerial perspective over your life or reality, do you start to see that there's absolutely no way this wasn't planned by something out there. What do we have at the crown, please? What do we got here? Three of Wands reverse and strength. Okay, we're going to take this Three of Wands right here. Aries energy. Yeah, further reiterating the message here, Gemini. Three of Wands in reverse is the energy of a dreamer. It's somebody who doesn't have any foresight. They're completely consumed by their everyday waking life, the matrix. There's so many obstacles in their life that you can't actually put together any sort of long-term goals for yourself. It's a repeating pattern of setbacks and your plans are always falling apart. So just driving the message home that we've channeled through so far with this Three of Swords. What do we have at the foundation, please? King of Cups, Alistair, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. And this is confirming what I said about you being taken advantage of, right? Like it was just the path that you were meant to be on, that you were here to serve others or you were here to make other people happy. But when I say to serve others, because that might be misconstrued, I feel that all of us are here to serve the collective, here to serve the divine for the greater good. But this is different. King of Cups and its negative polarity here, I read this as a negative because it's a demon polarity. So this is somebody who holds another individual back who has a purpose in their life, who's here to do something extraordinary. But they just keep this individual asleep in this energy through layered forms of gaslighting and emotional abuse and manipulation, right? The emotional abuse could be them making you feel like you owe them. Now, if this is family members, let's say toxic parents or something like this, some of you may be dealing with, these are the kinds of parents that make you feel guilty for even being born. I gave you life, so you need to do this and that for me. And you're like, oh, okay, because you don't know any different. There are actually some people who raise their children this way. It's like being born into spiritual poverty and you don't even know it. Your mind is programmed from the moment of inception to believe that things are one way. And that right there represents the matrix of your life, Gemini, to believe that things are one way and doing everything in their power to make sure that you don't find out otherwise. What do we have at the sacral, please? Two of Wands, Epis. Back to this King of Cups right here. It's right underneath that Eight of Swords. So here's this restriction, you feeling mentally imprisoned, trapped, like there's something out there calling you, but you just can't quite put your finger on it. You don't even understand that you are inside a kind of space of restriction, and it's all being meticulously crafted by this lovely creature right there, right? And this Two of Wands here, this is an energy of your plans always falling apart. And I also feel that these energies projected a lot of fear onto you. Like, oh, no, that's not for you. You don't want to go down that path. This, that, and the other will happen to you. Three of Wands in reverse, Two of Wands, and this is also in its negative polarity. So this is really telling a story here. It's essentially Two and Three of Wands in reverse. Every time you try to initiate some sort of new beginning in your life, you're stifled by this energy. Something goes out of its way to make sure that you're not able to progress down this particular path. A lot of you could have been working on things throughout your life and have always found that in the 11th hour, things fall apart for you. You can't ever bring anything to full manifestation, and you don't know why. This used to happen to me. Again, decade after decade. I truly thought that there was something wrong with me, or I was just an insignificant human being, or just made me feel like a big loser, right? I couldn't do anything. I couldn't see anything to completion. And then I just started to have these awakenings, and I started to get very clear, powerful downloads through these extensive meditations I was doing. And I got clear instructions on things I needed to do in my life, behavioral patterns that I needed to break, addictions I needed to break, big and small. And also, the biggest one out of all of them was evaluating every single personal connection, family, friend, everybody in my life, putting all of them under the microscope. When I did this, I found a sort of commonality between all of them. And I started to realize that incrementally, I was being held back in a monumental way by all of these things when you added it all together. The behavioral patterns, the addictions, the people. It was completely blocking me from my intended path. So when I went in with this fine-tooth comb and this microscope, I started to pluck all of these things out of my life. The people were obviously the hardest things to overcome for me personally, because some of them were people that have always been in my life. But I tell you, Gemini, it was those last couple of people that I really did hold on to for dear life. I didn't want to release them. But when I did, boom, the floodgates opened. And when those floodgates opened, there was a huge sense of relief that I started to feel surrounding the decisions I had made to self-empower, because it was during that moment did I start to see all of those individuals, all of those things from this aerial perspective, which allowed me to let go. I just started to see them in a way that I hadn't seen them before. I just started to see them as components of the illusion in my life. It's usually during this period of time that it's much easier for you to break any sort of emotional tie or bond that you may have to these people. And the beautiful thing about that is the universe wants to make sure that you are relieved of this almost immediately. And this is exactly what I'm getting here, Gemini, for you. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Nine of Wands, Marchoceus, Sag energy. And what a card to follow what I just said, because the Nine of Wands is all about you creating some sort of distance, some sort of boundary between you and these energies that are creating setbacks in your life. And see how it's right underneath this Four of Swords? That's so interesting. Here you are, right? Awakening to the truth, and then here they are, whoever they are to you. No, we cannot have this. Gemini cannot wake up to the truth. If they step into their power and truly become this star, by harnessing their true heart's desires, it will be over for us. The lie will be exposed. Lucifer will call us back to the darkest pits of hell. We cannot fail our mission. And you know, Gemini, in my time working with people, doing personal readings, and just hearing so many people's stories out there, there's more people than you can begin to imagine waking up at all different ages. But I see it a lot with people who are a bit older, right? It's like they start to realize that the people they've had around them their entire life have been a part of the lie, right? You know what that's like? Waking up to the truth when you're middle-aged, even elderly, right? It's a wild experience, Gemini. There's some people that I've worked with that have found their path later in life. So there's no cutoff. When you're meant to wake up and get on your path is when you're meant to wake up. We're all on different journeys. Some of us need to stay inside these cycles longer because we need to gather a certain kind of wisdom. And those individuals are some of the divine's best. They were chosen for the mission because they have done it many times before, and they were the perfect individuals for the job because of how strong and resilient they are. What do we have at the heart, please? Then we have Halfas, falsehood, which is Two of Swords, Libra energy right there at the heart. So follows what I just said perfectly about people waking up later on in life and then starting to realize that the individuals around them held this kind of energy, right? It gives an energy of, I'm always sticking my neck out for you, Gemini, right? It's got this car salesman kind of vibe to it. It's like you waking up to the lies surrounding individuals that have always been in your life. You just start to see them in a way that you haven't before. But you're not able to access this aerial perspective until you step into this star energy, which is the energy of you going through the awakening. Going for these true heart's desires, whatever that is for you, that calling from within, allows you to break the matrix of your life. This is when the divine pulls back the veil and you can see the truth. And Gemini, this may sound out there to some of you, okay? But what I've experienced in my own life is that when you do actually start to have this perspective and you look back at all these individuals, you really start to see them as kinds of demons, right? It's like they hold these different kinds of behavioral patterns that are all negative in nature that can be seen as low-level forms of possession. That's really what these specific behavioral patterns are. They're forms of possession. Narcissism, a form of possession. And again, it takes removing yourself from it to actually see this clearly. So, for individuals out there that don't understand that, then they either haven't removed themselves from this yet to get the perspective, or they've never been subjected to narcissistic abuse, which is what I'm getting here. Narcissistic abuse can be a kind of mental abuse that wants you to feel like you're going crazy. It wants to tell you that you're not perceiving reality correctly and that you're a burden on them and the rest of the world, which has a way of disempowering you and keeping you stuck. And then we have Queen of Swords, Amia, ritual and ceremony, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. Queen of Swords is all about accepting the truth now. You see it very clearly. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. My mother, my father, my best friend, all demons. They're just slithering beasts and they don't even know it. You mean to tell me that they're just agents inside the Matrix? Oh, yes, Gemini, that is correct. And it's typically during this sort of awakening that you start to feel a longing to reconnect with your real soul family, your real spirit family, which is all watching you while you're down here fulfilling your mission. These people that are down here right now, holding you back, this is not your real family. They are imposters. I had a dream where I actually woke up at divine headquarters. I was laying down inside this machine, and I would close my eyes and I would awaken in our reality here. And then when I would go to sleep, I would wake back up at divine headquarters, and my real family was there. And it felt like being here inside this reality was just a bad dream. The closeness that I felt to the individuals that surrounded me when I would wake up at divine headquarters felt so real. It seemed so clear, Gemini. I had that particular dream in a few different forms, quite a lot during my last big awakening, and I've had it sporadically over the years as well since. And I think it happens to remind me that there's something so much greater beyond all of this, Gemini. We're here because we have a mission that we need to complete. And all of you are really starting to understand this now. As best as you can to actually get on your path. There's no way that we can possibly begin to understand every detail. Our minds just can't even conceive the magnitude of all of this. What do we have at the throat, please? King of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. And I read this card as an upright always, even though it came out as reverse, because it's a positive polarity. It's an angel. Demons, angels. So you go from this resistance here, right? Demon to angel. And now this is the outcome. So we have Queen and King of Swords. So we have a pair here, Gemini. And this is very, very powerful because the King and Queen of Swords is also your energy, along with Libra and Aquarius. Leia, King of Swords, the exalted god, victory, grants victory and protection from lightning. So now here you are. Not only have you started to accept the truth with this Queen of Swords, but it's enabling you to take this quick action and this leadership position over your life. It's as if you're cutting all of this energy away from you, left and right. You're not even thinking twice about it. In spaces where you may have hesitated, you're moving in a very deliberate fashion. And there's a strategy to the way you're moving, which has all been given to you by way of these downloads that you are receiving from the divine. And what you start to find is, Gemini, the more you cut away, the more this starts to grow. It's like you cut a toxic person out of your life, and then all of a sudden a branch grows up here. You overcome a negative behavioral pattern or an addiction, and then all of a sudden a flower starts to bloom. What do we have at the third eye, please? Page of Swords. Queen, King, Page. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. A'ia, God the refuge, governs dreams and reveals mysteries hidden from mortals. Wow. Goes along with what I said about waking up at divine headquarters, right? Governs dreams, reveals mysteries hidden from mortals. A lot of you are going to think about what I said there. It's going to spark some different ideas for you. It's going to get the wheels turning. Typically speaking, that's why I'm guided to share little things on my own path and a part of my experience as a means to let you know that, one, you're certainly not alone, Gemini. I'm here as a support system for you to let you know that I understand what you're going through. And two, to also help awaken different parts of yourself, which allows for new downloads and ideas to make their way to you. And as I'm looking at this Page of Swords, it's like, here you are. Well, this isn't even you. You're right here on this poster. But see how this individual here, which I feel represents the resistance, whoever these people are, whatever that is you're dealing with, the restriction, the behavioral patterns, the addiction, the people, whatever it is, it's all right here in this person, okay? It's like they cannot speak, and then here you are. It's almost like you're in another realm now, on a different timeline, in your power, aligned, having escaped. And they're like, oh no, we are so screwed. Lord Lucifer is not going to be happy that Gemini managed to escape and make their way through the portal onto the new timeline. Their influence will be everlasting. Who knows how many other people they may help to see the truth and help to awaken. What do we have at the crown to close this out for my Gemini? The moon, Pisces energy, Gabriel. God is my strength. Divine revelation reveals messages, has the power to destroy. And again, immediately I'm thinking about waking up at divine headquarters again. You know, the moon is all about your dreams. It's all about the subconscious mind, the unseen realms, right? And it's like you are able to navigate both realms now through this awakening process. Yes, you are here inside the matrix, inside the simulation, inside this three-dimensional space, but you're starting to understand that there's a depth, that there's another side to all of this that you are being blocked from accessing. It's this aerial perspective that gives you a necessary kind of hope and faith to start pushing forward on your path, Gemini, and step into this new timeline. This is what is unfolding for you, energetically speaking, in the wake of this current eclipse season that we are in. Gemini, this is the message I have available to you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations, Gemini. Take care.